she is going to walk you through apple pies today. Yay! Let's start. So first we're going to start off making the pie dough. And first what you'll need is a cup of butter, 8 ounces of cream cheese, half a teaspoon of salt, where's my powder cheese? 2 3/4 cups of flour, 2 1/2 cups of powdered sugar. So first of all, we're going to mix all of our dried ingredients together. So that's going to be the flour, the powdered sugar, and the salt. And just mix those up so that they're all incorporated. And then we're going to cut our butter into small cubes. You want to make sure that your butter is very chilled in order to develop a really nice flaky crust. So put the little cubes of butter in, work them in. I'm going to just kind of break these down a little bit first before I add the cream cheese in. And you want to get them to pea-sized little chunks. Go ahead and add in the cream cheese. This recipe actually is like a 2-day process. After you get the dough all together, you're going to form discs and you're going to need to chill it at least an hour, but it's best to do it overnight. Okay. Now that your dough is all together, you're going to divide this in 2, and you're going to want to probably weigh it to 16 ounces each, and then form 2 discs and plastic wrap them. And the reason you form 2 discs is one will be the bottom crust and one will be the top crust. Well, under 16 ounces is okay as long as both discs weigh the same amount. Now we're just going to wrap these up and place them in the refrigerator to chill. We're going to do our filling for the pie. First you'll need 8 apples, some granulated sugar, some cream, some allspice, nutmeg, and some cinnamon. And then eventually you're going to need 1 egg beaten for glazing the top. So we'll start with the peeling and cutting of the apples. So we're going to go ahead and slice our apple, and we're going to cut on all 4 sides, leaving the core, which is scarred. You always want to make sure that your fingers are curled in so that the knife does not hit your fingers, resulting in no fingers. You want nice, maybe about an 1/8 inch of a slice, like about that thick. Just going to go ahead and finish them up. Now that all our apples are sliced and peeled, we're ready to coat them with granulated sugar. Kind of sprinkle it on like so and mix. Okay, there's no set amount of sugar, but we just want to make sure that each one is coated, and we don't want to overcoat them, because what happens is when the apples are cooking in the oven in the pie, a lot of caramelization will occur, and it'll cause a lot of oozing from the pie. It's just enough to sweeten it, and I'd like for you to taste it and make sure that it's sweet enough. Ron. that's a good sign. So we're gonna go ahead and take our allspice, nutmeg, and our cinnamon. Starting first with the nutmeg, so we can see there's no set amount for these spices as well. We just kind of sprinkle lightly so that we can see like a nice dusting, and that's it. That's all you need, because nutmeg is a very strong spice. It creates almost a bitterness if you over spice it. And then we're gonna do our allspice, just a really light dusting. And allspice has like a licorice type of flavor, so the same thing, we don't want to overdo it with the allspice. Cinnamon, it's kind of your call. You know, you want to make it a little heavier on the cinnamon, because apples and cinnamon, they just go together. Too much cinnamon will cause your apples to kind of turn to mush when they're baking. Just enough so you can see it, and they're, I wouldn't say coated brown, but it's like dusty. You can, you know, you can actually see the little grains, or I don't know what you call them, ground cinnamon, just lightly on the apples. Like a nice speckle is what you want, because taste is always what matters. You want more? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, our dough is chilled. So we have 2 discs, and we're going to go ahead first and flour the board. Not too much flour, because you don't want the dough to get too coated. And then we're going to also just lightly dust both sides of the dough. You need a sturdy rolling pin, and go ahead and roll them out and flip as you roll them. Use flour as needed. I'm going to go ahead and fold this up so that I have space to roll out my next dip. And the flour that's already on it prevents it from sticking together. Get my pie dish, and I'm going to take some non-stick spray and just slightly coat it, and I'm going to place the dough like this in almost like a half moon shape and fold over, and then push down so that there are no bubbles. I'm going to go ahead and trim with some shears. I'm going to trim the dough, so I have just about 1.5 inches of a border going around the rim of the dish. If the dough feels really soft, you're going to want to put this in a freezer or a refrigerator just so it gets a little firm. And here's a crust that's already been chilled, so it's nice and firm. So the next step is going to be filling our pie. So we're going to take all of this and we're just going to fill it. And we want to create a mound. We don't want a flat pie, you know. You want to kind of lay the apples in with your hands, kind of push down on it so that they kind of lay flat. That'll take away any air pockets. That's good, right there. And then we're going to go ahead and drizzle with cream. And when you're doing the cream, you want to start in the center, kind of going in a circular swirl. So just a drizzle. not heavy, because this will also add to all that caramel on the bottom, and it'll cause a seepage coming out of your pie. And then we're gonna get our top crust, and we're going to place it on top halfway, like a half moon, and fold over. And over. Make sure there's no tears. If there are tears, you can kind of pull it so that it's not going to be part of the crust, because you're going to cut most of this off anyway. And then you're going to cut it to the same length as your bottom crust is. Just about 1.5 inches or so. And you know, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's all not going to show, it's going to be rolled up. Now you're going to create the crust, and this is the fun part. You're going to actually grab the 2 layers and you're going to roll and tuck under, and you're going to keep doing this same motion around as you go along, kind of turning your pie. And you just roll and tuck, roll and tuck. Then you're going to kind of just make sure that no edge is hanging off the side. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use my left hand, thumb and pointer finger to sort of create almost like a pinch, and then in between that pinch I'm going to take my pointer finger on my right hand and just kind of create a little, sort of like a little bowling ball marking, if you will, and just kind of follow that all around. But you're not actually pinching until you get your pointer finger in between there, and then you're kind of pushing everything down at the same time. And then you need to create a little X on the top, and that's acts as a vent to let the steam escape. Go ahead and just cut it an incision, and then do the exact same thing in the opposite direction. And have a little X on the top. And then what we need to do is egg wash the crust with your pastry brush. This is 1 beaten egg. And we just want to kind of work quickly because it dries up rather quickly. So cover as much as you can. Every hole doesn't need to be covered. You just kind of slightly go over with your paintbrush. Dust it with granulated sugar. And what the egg wash does is it creates a nice browning, and then this kind of just gives it a nice rustic look. We're going to go ahead and place this in the freezer for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes until the crust is firm. If you don't have a firm crust and you pop it in the oven right away, what's going to happen is the crust will be so soft and the oven will be so hot that it'll kind of melt the crust almost, and then you're going to have a lot of overhang and uneven edges going on. So we want it to be nice and firm when you bake. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Look how beautiful that is. It's so beautiful, it's bursting. We're going to go ahead and pop this on a sheet tray and pop it in. It's preheated. And we will bake that until we get a nice golden color, but we don't want it too dark. So probably about 15 minutes. When you're baking this pie, it's actually 2 steps. The first part is just getting that nice golden color. You're popping it in uncovered. Once you get that nice golden color, you're going to pull it out and you're going to foil it. You're going to cover it with foil. Then you're going to pop it back in, and then you're going to bake it for another 2 hours or more. The best way to check if your pie is done is to use glass pie dishes like this. And you can see on the bottom if your crust is cooked thoroughly. So these are always really good to use.